Now that we've finished the procedural portion of this course with PHP, a lot of you are probably curious about what's next. Where do I go next? And if you haven't taken the database course yet, you can examine that, which is more of a deep dive into the MySQL portion of things. But what we'll do in this week and the next week is examine what the industry is like right now, and specifically its requirement for object-oriented programming. So if you go to the zip file attached with this video, you're going to see a folder called objects. It's in a zip. Inside here I've created 7 scripts that can take you through what object-oriented programming looks like in PHP. If you've had JavaScript before, you know that there are objects that hold properties and methods. Well, the same holds true for PHP. In fact, our database experience with this course has shown that we have the ability to create new database objects, something like the PDO object you see in the script oneObject.php. Here we see new PDO and we pass our connection string to it. And then that DBH will have access to all the methods and properties that that PDO object contains. You can compare it to the date object in JavaScript if you want. For example, JavaScript has a date object that has properties and methods. One of the methods would be something like var time equals new date. So this is JavaScript right now, not PHP. But then we can do something like console.log time.get hours, and that would get you the hours of the day based on the date object. Well, cut to PHP and you'll see they're kind of similar. With PDO, we saw that we could use a prepare statement. We also saw some object-oriented programming with the MySQLi database engine. But this script here is simply telling you how this works. So with object-oriented PHP, we have a class keyword, which indicates that our class isn't going to be an object. Right now it's just a class, but it contains variables, it contains functions, which you've already been through, and it contains a script where we can call and make an instance of that class and instantiate its methods. Note the var keyword here. We're going to build on this later through this script. In fact, we'll scaffold through the 7 scripts and then call it a day. But the fact is that if you want to be in PHP professional, you have to take it to the next level, which means a good organization of code and the proper separation of functions within classes that can be accessible to the pages and web pages that need them. Okay? So let's take a closer look here. I have a var name that I'm not using, and I have a function called sayWhat. This sayWhat says, what's up? Well, this simple introductory script just teaches you how to access the function that is within this object. So we have a variable called object1 that equals new first class. In this case, it's creating a new instance of this object. At this point, we have an object that contains all the methods and properties that may have been defined within the curly braces here. It's very similar to a function. So below here, we have new first class, and then we have an instance or a method calling sayWhat. Well, when I save this and run it in a browser, guess what I get? What's up? Da-da! There you go. So in this case, we have just an instance of this, okay? So let's move forward and get a little more complicated because that was pretty simple. In the next script, we see how we can use variables within the class. What we're interested in as we learn object-oriented PHP is how do we access a property, a value, from within a method or a function. So from here on out, we'll use the word function and method interchangeably. Anyway, I have a function here called sayHello, and I have name equals Nicole. Then I have print hello, my name is Nicole. Well, right now, when I call the same first class and say hello, you can bet what it would say. So I'm going to go to the scripts and I'll go to toObject. And here it says name equals Nicole. Okay, well, what if I commented this out and saved it? Nothing. That's interesting, isn't it? If a name is declared outside of the function, it does not have a value if it's used within that function, unless we make some changes, which we'll see inside the next script. So right now, in order to get Nicole to have a name, we had to put name equals Nicole. All right, well, let's move to the next one. This is how we can change the value of a property from within a method. In this case, I'm going to go and do within, and you see, hello, my name is Don. Now I'll take my script, which is, in this case, object equals new first class, and I have function name equals Jonathan. Well, at this point, I have say hello and print hello, my name is this name. Okay, well, let's just copy this out here. We're going to go ahead and comment that out, okay? And we're going to comment this out. And I have var name equals Jonathan. Well, look what's down here. I have hello, my name is this name. And when I hit this, look, it says Jonathan. This is because you're now learning the this keyword. Scalar this means this class. And I'm pointing to a variable called name that's within this class. If you recall in the second script, name Nicole had no value. If I were to comment this out and do scalar this exclamation name like this, and then we went back to the one of the two here, we'd see hello, my name is Nicole. So, knowing that this keyword can call variables outside of the function, we can go ahead and go to the next script and uncomment setName. So the way this script works is we've got object1, which equals a new first name. Then I can call on object1 to set the new name to equal Don. That passes the text of Don to this variable and makes this name equal to Don. No longer does this name equal Jonathan, but now it equals to the variable that got sent here, and therefore it says, hello, my name is Jonathan. Oh, I got to refresh, and it should say Don. Oh, let me save it. So now this name is now Don, and we've overridden the original variable that's within the class. This is the first setter. If you've ever had any classes in Java or other object-oriented programming, you'll understand there are setters and getters. Well, this is a setter in PHP where we're setting a value to override a variable that's also in the same class, where this is the class itself. So we're finding all instances of name right here and changing it to be equal to the variable that came in. All right, we're halfway there to our entry-level object-oriented, so I'm going to go to what's called a constructor. Constructors are when we have a class that has a function that has the same name. Similar to other languages, this means that this function will run automatically. So watch what happens. If I go to lesson 4 here, I have a constructor and it says, hello, my name is Alyssa. Okay, great. That's because we said object1 first class Alyssa. This ran and we passed the variable here, so first class had the setter, and now we can say, hello, my name is Alyssa. Do that again with Taylor, and that's why we have a separate instance where it says Taylor. Now look below. We have object1 say hello and object2 say hello, and these are past names, so I'll just delete those. But that is an instance of a constructor. We're basically using the same set name, but using it in the constructor mode so that we have this equal to something else. So what happens if I do this? Well, if I do new first name now with no value, watch what happens. Nothing. I get an argument. I get an error. But if I were to go and do something like this, it would take the same rules as it would with functions. So I have a default argument there. Again, you could always do something like this, but there's no reason for it because now we have a default argument inside the function, which is a constructor. Okay, so once you learn the basics, you'll learn that you're likely to see classes with several functions. For example, we're dealing with this membership system in our final projects, and that has numerous functions for registration. Well, we might have something for add user, send user, confirmation, things like that. But as we get more complicated, what we need to deal with is things called inheritance. And that means we have second classes that inherit the same properties and methods of the first class. So watch this. I have the same values that I had before. I have a function first class with a constructor. I have a name Chris, and once again, this has to have a value in order to override this if it exists. And because it is a constructor, it will get called. So we say hello. It's the exact same code as the last script, but watch this. Second class extends first class. So now I have a variable test that equals new second class, son of Ron Toupee. and I'm calling that function. And watch what happens. So this is the inheritance example, and it says, hello, my name is son of Ron Toupee. So all we did was create a new instance of the second class, which by extending the first class has the exact same functions and properties. Only 2 more to go here, and the next thing we're talking about is how we can override that first class. So as you can see, all these scripts are connected, and it takes a while to understand, but once we have a class called first class with all the same code that we've been talking about, and we have the second class extends first class, we can have a method that actually changes from the first class. So in this case, my say hello for second class is now I'm not going to tell you my name. So if I do new second class son of Ron Toupee, watch what happens when I call test say hello. I'll go to override because we're overriding the parent, and it says I'm not going to tell you my name. That's because the new say hello overrides the previous say hello despite the fact that second class extended the first class. On to point 7 here, which is the last one we'll show in our entry level, and this is recall parent. So this is class, same as always, the function called say hello, where we're grabbing the value. Now we have an extension, but now we have this. So we've already changed say hello, and this will run this function, but then we're going to recall the parent class to the original say hello, and it should output everything. So watch this. When I go to recall parent, I have, hello, I'm not going to tell you my name. Hello, my name is son of Ron Toupee. So it ran line 21, and then it recalled the original, and it said basically son of Ron Toupee, which carried the argument from this. So that is, in a nutshell, basic object-oriented PHP. The next step for you guys, which we'll do in the last 2 weeks here, is covering the model view controller paradigm and looking at some functionality that is a replicant of what we've done in class that is object-oriented. So we're going to start taking some of our code from this semester and turning it into object-oriented. So that's it for this video. Look forward to the MVC because it's very interesting.